Empiricism, Sensationalism, and Positivism. British Empiricism. Empiricism, philosophy that stresses the importance of experience in the attainment of knowledge. Text. Generally, inner experience not included in the definition. Reference is to sensory experience. Some points re. Empiricism. Text. Sensory experience constitutes the primary data. No suggestion that experience alone constitutes knowledge. Knowledge can't exist until sensory evidence has first been gathered, i.e., attainment of knowledge begins with sensory experience. All subsequent intellectual processes must focus only on sensory experience. Although British empiricists disavowed innate ideas, in favor of ideas from experience, they did not reject the notion of instinct or innateness in general. We have inborn propensities which regulate our bodily functions, produce emotions, and even direct our thinking. What empiricists deny is that we are born with detailed, picture-like, concepts of God, causality, mathematics, etc. Like Bacon, British empiricists also moved away from deductive proofs and used inductive method of arguing. In spite of their advocacy of inductive argumentation, though, British empiricists still made wide use of deductive arguments. Major philosophers associated with British empiricism: Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, George Berkeley, David Hume, James Mill and his 19th-century son J.S. Mill. Restricting the British empiricist movement to these few is misleading. Until rise of English idealism, ca. 1850, all British philosophy after Locke bears the marks of his empiricism. More than any other philosopher, Locke was cited as an authority by philosophers, philosophical theologians, and political thinkers. In fact, lengthy article on metaphysics in the first edition of the Encyclopaedia Britannica, 1773, is essentially a summary of Locke. Thomas Hobbes, 1588–1679, founder of British empiricism. Descartes had offered mechanistic explanation of animal behavior. Hobbes' next logical step is to view man as machine. Also, Hobbes became first thoroughgoing opponent of rationalism. First modern determinist, reviving materialism of Democritus. Every thought, feeling, purpose was simply internal motion, in brain. All experience is some special form of motion, for example, no distinction between the will to do something and the doing of it. Sensation is a continuation of motion that impinged on sense organs, which transmit motion through the nerves to the brain. Memory and imagination, movements slowly decaying. Thus, physical basis for memory. Mind reduces to material processes. Monism, strongly opposed to Cartesian dualism. Some things remembered better than others. Memory based on contiguity and similarity. Pleasure, due to speeding up a flow of blood, pain due to impediment of blood. Changing rate of these physiological processes leads to emotional feelings and to general bodily reactions that augment or inhibit a tendency to action. All actions initiated by endeavors, small, incipient actions or beginnings of actions. Not just readiness/desire to act, not a mental event. Some background, primarily a political theorist. Leviathan, all-powerful state, for example, English monarchy, which men must accept if they are to avoid destroying one another. Need for such a state arises because of the nature of man. Seeks pleasure and avoids pain. Society prevents excessive pleasure-seeking which infringes on rights of others. Mainspring of human conduct, self-interest, most important motive, fear. This was immensely important system of ideas. Human acts result from an objectively knowable human nature. Man is made in such a way that analysis may make prediction and control possible. John Locke, 1632–1704. Usually regarded as originator of British associationism, although Hobbes preceded him. Wrote Essay Concerning Human Understanding, 1690. All knowledge comes through experience, either through the senses or through reflection on sensory data. No innate knowledge, tabula rasa. Probably most important aspect of essay. Attack on Descartes' belief in innate ideas. The tabula rasa. Mind at birth is blank slate. Idea not original. Aristotle. Locke rescued the idea from obscurity. If born without ideas, how is it that adult minds are filled with so many thoughts, concepts, images? Experience. All depends on individual experiences. Note, now this begins to sound modern. Only natural that we think we have innate ideas. Few can remember a time when they didn't have an idea of, for example, God. Locke says we're taught the idea when young, so it isn't surprising that we can't recall a time when we didn't have the idea. Similarly, no innate ideas of truth, honesty, goodness, beauty, etc. They aren't things out there, they are acquired by experience. Kinds of experience. Locke's views have been oversimplified. Sensation, primary. All ideas built from initial sensations. Reflection, operations of the mind, for example, thinking, doubting, perceiving, reasoning, etc. Mind can combine simple ideas into a compound, for example, red, blue, gray, leads to color. Mind can bring two ideas together and compare them, for example, lighter than, heavier than. Mind can abstract properties. Locke's views have been oversimplified. He does not take everything away from mind of newborn. What he did say os. No inborn ideas, all are gained through experience. Mind has innate capacity to act on incoming associations and organize them, abstract them, etc. Notion of ideas as elements, forerunner of mental chemistry. Notion,